Hello and welcome to Dees Talk. Today I'm joined by Manish Pabari, a wellbeing and executive coach and the author of You Don't Have to Believe That. After spending 20 years as an investment manager, Manish shifted into coaching and now works with everyone from CEOs, Olympic athletes to young people and educators and even volunteers on Childline. He is also a paddle enthusiast, which is where I got to know him, and also a great paddle coach, and has taught me some great tips that I've already integrated into my paddle game. I'm really looking forward to exploring your ideas in the book, and welcome to Dees Talk.
Darius, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Looking forward to this.
It's really good to have you. So the core idea of your book, You Don't Have to Believe That, is about your own thoughts and about how the thoughts we think, we don't have to believe.
Yeah, would you like me to give a high-level summary?
Please
Sure. So,
expand on that.
well, let me just start by giving you a little bit of background to give some context to
Sure, of course.
How the book originated and the
how
concepts
did it
within
start?
there. So it's like, I'm 53 years old now, and first 20 years of my life I spent doing what you might call traditional work. So I worked in a corporate world in London, and I worked as an investment manager. And then my daughter, well, she's 17 now, and when she was born, I just wanted to spend time with her.
Right.
So when she was a little bit older, she was 7 years old, I decided to do a complete career shift, and I quit regular work to become a full-time dad.
Right.
And
you're quite high flying, like
Yes.
in the kind of investment management.
I used to manage £150 billion of money and
Whoa.
across the globe. So as it's part of a team, of course, but
Wow.
so it was a very responsible job. But I wanted to spend time with my daughter. I knew that this time was limited and it doesn't come back. So
It's true, they grow up so fast.
it's absolutely. So I quit corporate world, became a full-time dad. But while my daughter's at school, I thought, what would I like to do? And I came across life coaching.
So that was like taking your daughter to school every day, picking her
pick
up, the full. Wow.
Yeah, so from my daughter's point of view, I was always at home because I'd drop her to school and pick her up, arrange play dates for her, the full works.
Right.
But this was kind of the fun part of my life at that stage. Perhaps the not so fun part is my marriage wasn't going so well.
Oh.
So I'd been married for 15 years at that time, and we'd already moved to Australia as well. So my wife at the time, my daughter and I, three of us moved there, and we just wanted a different life.
From London. Right.
So, live somewhere warm, bring my daughter up by the beach, and it was beautiful. Lived in Sydney.
Nice.
But at home, so kind of behind the closed doors, the marriage wasn't going too well, and I found myself getting a little bit angry, a little bit frustrated with my wife, and that triggered this thought for me. It's like, why do we feel the way we do? And so then when I split up with my wife, whilst we were in Australia, that started my journey of what I'd call self-discovery. I started read so many books.
What kind of books are you reading?
The first book that
self-help type stuff?
Pretty much the self-help one. So the first one that really kind of grabbed my attention was called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So he's a Mexican author, and it's got four very simple rules about how to live life. And I read that, and I adopted the approach of read a book, apply the principles to your own life. If they work, carry on, and if they don't, drop them.
Trial and error.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
test
So very kind of empirical.
Cool.
And then I came across this book called The Inside Out Revolution. And that book explained something so profound, but so simply, it changed everything for me. And what it said was that at every single moment in your life, your feelings, so your emotions, they're coming from your thinking in that moment, not your circumstances.
Right. So whatever you're thinking leads to your feelings.
Yes, you're feeling, you're thinking.
Right.
And there's a very simple proof for that, because two people can be in exactly the same circumstance at a point in time and feel completely differently. And based on that, it cannot be your circumstance that drives how you feel. So a very simple example, you and I are sitting here right now.
Yeah.
Now, we might be feeling completely differently.
Yeah.
One might be nervous, one might be relaxed. We're in the same circumstance. So it cannot be our environment or our circumstance that drives how we feel. And what is
Doesn't it contribute though? Surely, if you're doesn't the
Well,
vibe of your environment lift you or pull you down or
it can,
yeah.
but it doesn't have to. So put it this way, there's always a thought that precedes a feeling. Now, your circumstances can influence your thoughts. So to take an example, if you've got an urgent deadline and you need to get something done, okay? So that's your circumstance. Then you could start having stressful thoughts. What if I don't complete the job in time? What if I don't meet my boss's requirements? So then that stressful thinking, if you believe it, can turn into lousy feelings. You can feel scared, stressed, whatever, anxious, whatever those feelings are.
Sure.
But it's a thought that precedes that feeling. Because if you have the thought that, well, look, I'm doing the best I can and I do what I can, then you're likely to feel calmer. Whereas if you believe the stressful thoughts of what if this and what if that, you'll feel completely differently.
Sure. So it's almost like your attitude as well, right? Does your attitude help to determine which thoughts you're picking and focusing on and feeding?
It's effectively, it's all about creating a gap between having a thought and an action. So when you create space between thoughts and your actions, that gives you time to do something, which is where your superpower lies. Your superpower, and you are in every single person on this planet has this superpower, which is the gift of choice. So whilst we're feeding our thinking, we can choose which thoughts to believe. And that's really profound. Because if you just stop and just reflect on that, I used to think that if you have a thought, okay, you follow through on it. But the truth is, you don't have to follow through on thoughts. We all have the most weird and wonderful thoughts. Some are useful, some are not. But it's a choice which ones we follow through on. And what I found is that when you choose not to believe a lousy thought, you tend not to stay in that lousy feeling for so long. So that makes sense. So the point there is that
So you're feeding. So when you have the thought, it's almost like, do I latch onto it and do I feed it and ride it and repeat it? And by being more aware of your thoughts, you're like, no, let that one go. That doesn't benefit me. That's not useful.
Correct.
It's not helpful.
You see, thoughts are harmless. They're absolutely harmless. And did you know we have about 60,000 thoughts a day on average?
Oh,
there's 84,000 seconds in a day. So it's roughly a thought every second. So you have a thought and then another one and then another one. And they're constant. And like some of them you might not even notice. It might be, okay, I'm just going to adjust in my seat. And that's a thought that leads to an action. But that's still a thought. So we have so many thoughts, and a lot of them will be repeated thoughts day in, day out. Yeah.
And then a lot of it's there must be subconscious thoughts as well that
so people use that type of language and conscious and
like
subconscious.
Layers of thoughts. Like how much of it is automatic, how much of it is, actual louder thoughts.
So people talk about kind of thoughts that kind of grab at the front of your awareness and thoughts that are subconscious. I try and keep it simpler than that. They're just thoughts, every single one of them. And thoughts are harmless unless one of two things happens. One is if they grab your attention. Okay. And two, if you believe them. So imagine we're having all these thoughts, a thought a second almost, okay? Some will grab our attention and we might not mean to, because the truth is no one actually wants to feel lousy. And the three main lousy feelings that all humans have kind of originate from being sad, mad, or scared. And pretty much every lousy feeling is kind of a subset of one of those: sad, mad, or scared. And the kind of
a lot of fear.
Fear is a scared one. But then the joyful feelings tend to be linked to being happy or excited. And so you have all these different feelings, and remember, you can't actually control your thoughts. Because if you could, it'd be easy. You just have positive thoughts all day long and you feel great. But it's not possible. I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried to control your thoughts.
I mean, in terms of trying to control them, I notice this, like if I do certain things, the types of thoughts I have will change. So if I get good night's sleep, I'm eating well, I'm like doing exercise, the quality of thoughts that I have will be more positive and more uplifting and exciting and enthusiastic. If I go out drinking, not sleeping well, I don't know, eating badly, I mean, it's like I see it even in my daughter who's only 1 year old, or kids, you know, when they're overtired, that's when they get grouchy. That's when they, you know, you fall into more negative thoughts more easily. I think if you're depending on your physical status,
Yes.
you know, which you can choose to affect by your habits,
Yes.
you know, to some extent.
That makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
because if you think of it this way, like, so just think of your brain or your mind as an organ.
Mm.
And the function of that organ is to create thoughts. Yeah, you don't necessarily know where they come from or why they appear,
Yeah.
but that's what it does. A bit like you have a heart that pumps blood around your body, or a stomach that processes food and digests it. Okay, the brain is just an organ, and it produces thoughts. Now, from what you were saying there, I agree. It's like in the same way as if you feed yourself different types of food, some food is harder to process.
Mm.
In that same respect, if you're tired and you're not eating well and you're not exercising, then that organ, your brain, might not function optimally. And one of the results of that, it produces more negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And so that's all linked. So yes, there are definitely ways that you can, things you can do to create more useful thoughts.
Yeah.
But even in those moments, you might still have a lousy thought.
Yeah.
And one thing which we've not talked about yet is there's a very simple summary of lousy thoughts. They tend to be judgmental ones.
Right.
So a lousy thought tends to be either judging ourselves, others, or our circumstances. And when you notice that, and when you're aware of that, it becomes easier to pick that up and not stay in that judgmental space for as long.
So just let it go. So what do we do when you have those judgmental or negative thoughts? What?
Notice them.
Note it. Just noticing itself is powerful. Yeah.
And this is how well we're designed, Darius, that I'll give you an example of our bodies. Like we know that if we get some sort of inflammation on our body, suppose, I mean, you're a football player, and if your knee got inflamed, then that inflammation is sending you a message. It's saying to stop and rest. That's very clear, and everyone knows that. That's what
the pain signal. Whatever.
Yeah, the pain signal, the inflammation is telling you to stop and rest. Well, guess what? We're so well designed that a lousy feeling, sad, mad, or scared, is like an inflammation of the mind. It's telling you to stop and let that lousy thought that's creating that lousy feeling pass.
Right.
And you don't have to fix anything. None of us are actually broken. There's nothing to fix. Yeah, it's just about noticing that you're feeling lousy, knowing and having the awareness that it's a lousy thought that's creating that feeling, not your circumstance, and saying, I'm just going to rest and let that thought pass. And the good news is that, well, if you're having a thought a second, you're only one thought away from a different feeling.
And there are ways to turn your thoughts around, right? I mean, there's a few techniques that I've been using over the years. I mean, one of them is like, if you have a situation which is bad, you know, then, or something bad happens to you, or something which you might consider bad, or you're judging as bad, then you say to yourself the sentence, I am grateful for this because, and then suddenly that opens up a sort of a new type of thought branch.
That's beautiful.
Right? And you can say that about almost anything, even the worst thing that's happened to you in your whole life. If you say that, your mind will actually fill in that rest of the sentence, and you will be able to turn it around, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you're kind of pointing to there is did you know that you can't be stressed and grateful at the same time?
Right.
The two things are mutually exclusive. So if you ever feel stressed, just ask yourself, what am I grateful for?
I'm grateful, yeah.
And you just pointed that out, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's a way of kind of redirecting your thoughts. But even if you kind of focus on what you're grateful for, your thoughts will wander again.
Yeah.
And so this whole thing I'm describing about your feeling, your thinking, you can't control your thoughts, but you have a superpower, the gift of choice, and you can choose not to believe your lousy ones. It's not something you go, okay, I know it now, I've mastered it, and therefore I can forget about it.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing practice,
Yeah.
which you do for the rest of your life.
It's like a habit as well, right?
Yeah.
Like you see people and you can just tell by the way they react to things that that's a habitual thing that they got into.
Yes.
And certain people have a way to always turn things into positive, or certain people turn things into negative. I mean, that's what's interesting about sport, especially like football. When you're playing football and you have two teams, I mean, what kind of verbal vocals you say on the pitch affect other people too.
Yes.
And you can see sometimes there'll be a certain person who will be very quick to judge and to put people down. What are you doing? And then you see how that can just bring the whole team down or whatever. And then you see other people that if you can always, and those people I notice when I'm playing with them, if they start to lose, then I know it's going to go down, like all the morale of the whole team will go down because they have that habit of always choosing the negative or choosing to judge or choosing to berate somebody, right?
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why I think sport is so useful for people to participate in, especially team sports, where you feel in a very visceral way the effect of the choice of your thoughts, how that then has this ripple effect and can ripple effect into other people's thoughts and affect the whole performance of a team.
Yes. And then I actually saw a really interesting video about that. They did an analysis of the top 25 tennis players in the world. And they found that what differentiated the top 5 from the rest, and it was their ability to get back to that present moment. And so they miss a shot.
Yeah.
And instead of berating themselves, they say, it's okay.
Let it go.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm going to try, and next shot is going to be much better.
Yeah.
And it was their ability to not stay in that
to reset
space. Yeah, so the reset.
Djokovic
is the perfect example of that. You might argue he doesn't look the most elegant tennis player, but he has worked so much on his mindset. That is his killer weapon.
He doesn't get stuck in a rut. Yeah.
Right. I mean, he breaks rackets. He and so the phrase I often use is like, it's okay to get upset, but don't stay upset. And he's a master at that. He uses breathing, conscious breathing, to come back to the present moment.
Right.
And that, again, it makes me feel like saying that's the essence of a peaceful and beautiful life, is the more present you are. And what I mean by that is when your full attention is on what's happening right now, instead of being in your head. Because all the drama is happening in our head. It's not actually happening in our environment or our circumstance. The drama's in our head. And so when you learn to get out of your head and get into this moment, everything's okay. Yeah.
And then how would you recommend people come back into the moment?
So there's a few, like you alluded to some earlier. So sport's a great way. Yeah, so any form of exercise. I mean,
when you're playing like some kind of ball game, like whether it's paddle or football, then you don't really have time to think about, what's going on in my life, because there's like someone coming towards you or the ball's there. You get very engaged, right?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, if there's a ball flying towards your face, you're not going to be thinking. You're just going to be reacting. And the great thing is our bodies know what to do in that moment. And so it's exercise, and especially some sort of exercise with a ball is a great way of getting out of your head and coming back to this present moment. But that doesn't mean that's the only way. Going for a walk. Going for a walk in nature especially. And importantly, put your phone away and look up. Have your eye line at least kind of ahead of you, or even ideally looking up. Because
Really?
when you look up, you see the beauty and the vastness of the world we live in. And you tend not to be in your head. And I see this all the time, is that when someone's looking down, I'm pretty sure they're up there in their heads, because there's not much to see down there. It's just concrete.
Yeah.
Right. So if someone's looking straight ahead or up, I tend to, and this is my observations, they tend to be less in their head and more in the present moment.
Right. They're more observing what's happening around them. Yeah.
So, and that's another way. So kind of using your senses, your 5 senses, to get out of your head is a good one. Even just using your eyes to focus on something, listening.
I guess that's what mindfulness is, isn't it? Just being mindful of
pretty much
of what your sense organs are sensing. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So you can just notice what you're feeling in your body. If you have any aches or pains, and just put your full attention to that, as opposed to your attention to your thoughts. Again, it just gets you out of your head.
Yeah.
It's a great way of resetting. I mean, people talk about meditation, and meditation, I remember when I first started it, I used to think, well, I keep having lots of thoughts and some are lousy. Why can't I stop them? And I thought...
Where are they coming from?
I thought meditation was to stop your thoughts. I now realize, no, it's to observe your thoughts.
Right.
Yeah, just notice them and create a space between you and your thoughts.
Sure.
Because
to realize you're not your thoughts.
Yes, exactly what I was going to say. You are not your thoughts. Yeah. Your mind creates thoughts. That's its function. You can spend your rest of your life asking, why do I get that thought?
Yeah.
But you won't get the answer to that. Yeah. Because
it is interesting, isn't it? Like, where do the thoughts come from? I mean, out of, like, as you're saying, if I'm sitting there, the thoughts will just come. Yeah. But then what determines which thought pops up out of all the infinite possible thoughts of, you say 60,000 thoughts a day, times how many days, times how many things we've seen or could think about. What is it that determines what pops up first? Yeah.
Well, so for me, it's like I've thought about this a lot, and I ironically thought about
thoughts.
Yeah, thought about thoughts, and actually that while I remember, it's like I read somewhere that the highest form of intelligence is metacognition. And metacognition is referring to the ability to think about your thinking.
Right.
Because most people kind of almost like sleepwalking through their lives.
Yeah, it's just autopilot.
Yeah, they're reacting to their thoughts. Whereas when you have the ability to stop and go, okay, oh, that was an interesting thought. Yeah. Should I really follow through on that? Okay. That's a very powerful way to live your life, because you create that gap, that space. And then it allows you to make better choices. Yeah.
There's a nice analogy you use in your book about being at a train station, right? Do you want to explain that one? That's quite a cool one for people to wrap their head around a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So think about your mind as a train station. Yeah. And each thought is a train that's passing through that train station. Now, you'll get on some of those trains and it might take you on a lousy journey. So those tend to be lousy, judgmental thoughts. But you could still choose to get off that train, and when you do, you won't feel so lousy. Or that train of thought might take you on a beautiful journey, and then you can choose to stay on that train. Now, the beautiful thing is it's a choice which trains you get on to. And even if you get on a lousy train, which we all do, you can choose to get off. And what's so wonderful about that analogy is that, just like with trains, if a train isn't very busy, the train operators will stop running that train. Yeah. Same with thoughts. The less attention and the less you believe your lousy thoughts, the less often they come. Yeah. It works the same way. And it doesn't mean you'll never have a lousy thought again. We all do. I have them every day. Yeah. But, and I love this kind of phrase, is that you can either entertain your thoughts and take them really seriously, or you can let them entertain you. So it's about giving a lightness to your thoughts, and not taking them so seriously. Because I honestly, I've done kind of shifts with the Australian equivalent of Samaritans. Right. I've worked with Childline for many years. And I found the biggest difference between kind of a happy person and a depressed person is how seriously they take their thinking. The depressed person takes their thinking very seriously.
Right. It's very heavy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they believe their thoughts. And the happy person is taking them lightly.
And they don't take themselves too seriously.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or everything too seriously.
Well, this is it.
How seriously you take everything.
Well, let me give you an example from my own life. So I
Yeah.
live on and I think we've talked about this before, but I live on the 14th floor of a block of flats.
Right.
And I'm not suicidal at all. I've got the dream life.
Yeah.
And yet every time I go into my balcony, I look down and I think, I wonder what it'd be like to jump.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I have that thought every time. And so what do? I laugh.
Yeah.
I go, here comes that silly thought again.
Right.
Now imagine if you could treat all your lousy thoughts like that. Just laugh about them. Yeah. Why so serious? The Joker got it right. Why so serious?
Yeah.
And that is the essence of living a peaceful and a joyful life.
Makes it lighter, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And here's one thing we haven't actually talked about yet, is because a kid actually asked me this. And when I talked them through this whole concept that you're feeling, you're thinking, you can't control your thoughts, but you don't have to believe them. This kid asked me, he goes, but what if they're true? And that really got me at that time. I thought, you're right. What if they are true? So then I went on this whole journey of understanding what truth is.
What is true, yeah.
And I looked up the dictionary and definition of truth. And truth is something which is universal, it's objective, and it's unchanging. So it's something you can't argue with. Yeah, it's objective, not subjective, and it's unchanging. Now let's think about thoughts. Are thoughts objective or subjective? They're subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they change? Yes, they do. Are they universal? Does everyone agree with them? No. So thoughts don't match the definition of truth. Thoughts are not true. They're made up. Or put it another way, they're just a story. The only truth, Darius, there's only one truth, and that is what is. What is happening right now is true. Everything else is a story that we overlay onto the truth of what's happening right now. So right now, you and I will have a story playing. Yeah, we have a narrator in our head.
Yeah.
Sounds like us. Yeah, and he's narrating the story of our lives based on what is right now. So when you learn to separate what is from the story, you then create that space. And it's a beautiful space where you can then drop into what is without taking that story so seriously.
That's interesting. I mean, one other thing that I do think about thoughts is people speak about there's different brainwave patterns like beta, theta, alpha, and when your mind's in those states, you will have different types of thoughts as well. Like when you're going about your everyday business, that's when you're in beta and you need to react and dealing with things, but then when you just woken up, I think you're in theta, is it? When you're in that, and then you have the quality of your thoughts might be a little bit different as well. They're a bit more esoteric, maybe a bit more, maybe you're more creative, more, in between sleep and awake, kind of the different states that our mind goes through each day will lead to different types of thoughts as well. And sometimes it's important to create like the quiet time to allow certain types of thoughts to come through as well. Like if you don't make that space to have some quiet time, for instance, then you can be in a very reactive mode all day long or whatever. So I consciously try to create that quiet time space where it's like, right, for the next 2 hours, no phone, the phone's on silent, no emails, no reaction. I'm going to focus on something and then allow that space to let myself be creative or really go do some deep thinking on something, That
makes a lot of sense. Because in essence, when your mind is really busy, you don't have space for clear and useful thoughts. So I almost think of my mind like a pipeline.
Right.
So if I clog it up with lots of thoughts, and you'll find this, and especially if you're doing lots of things, you can get really busy.
Yeah.
Then there's no space, just like in a pipe. There's no space. So then,
it's like overlapping as well.
and you can feel quite overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But
and tasks, when you have to switch in between them as well, that becomes a thing that I've consciously this year trying to stop doing that, because I've got all different projects, completely different things. When I'm trying to switch in between one to the other, I think that also becomes a problem. So I'm trying to today is going to be just this subject, and then go deep on it, rather than 5 minutes of that. Oh no, now something else comes in,
Yeah, in today's world, it makes it even harder. I mean, we have a supercomputer in your pocket, and that's constantly pinging. Yeah, it's very hard to stay focused and put your energy to one thing. So yeah, I'm the same as you. There's moments where my phone's completely away from me, and I'm just slowing down.
Yeah.
And something
and you
which
were saying your pipeline. So you have a pipeline concept.
Well, yeah. So the visualization is referring to there is that if you want to have useful thoughts, then you need to slow down and clear that pipeline. So quieten the mind. And all those things we talked about earlier about exercising, doing a sport, going for a walk, meditating, using your senses, all those things help to slow and quieten the mind. And when you do that, your pipeline clears and makes space for fresh new thoughts. Now, some of them will be useful, some may not be, but you'll have the clarity, the metacognition, if you want to call it, to think about those thoughts and go, okay, oh, that one's quite useful. Maybe I'll follow through on that one.
Yeah. And even journaling,
yes.
that can be quite useful, right? I find that I used to try to do it on my computer, but then I actually found something happens when I just use pen and paper that isn't the same as when I'm typing something. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's because when you take notes when you're writing, you can kind of do little circles and arrows and go kind of 360, whereas when you're typing, it's a bit, one line after the other kind of.
Yeah.
That there's something about pen to paper that I find just really helps me get my thoughts out. So if I'm working on a project or something, I always start pen and paper, and then I'll digest and put it into the computer afterwards before I share it with someone. But
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, remember, our minds are not there as a memory base. Yeah, I mean, obviously we have to remember certain things, but we shouldn't really have our to-do list up in our heads. I mean, we use pen and paper for that, or whatever kind of form you want to put it on. Our minds are really there for solving problems, for being creative. Yeah, so if you have things you need to do, you're right, just write them down, and that becomes your brain dump, and then you can clear your pipeline for more useful and fresh thoughts to come through.
Right.
Everything you're saying makes so much sense.
And you mentioned before the podcast when we were speaking about when you wrote your book, you felt that helped you quite a lot as well.
Yeah, so what I found was just the act of writing the book.
Yeah.
And the way I did it was back in 2021 was when I first started drafting the book. Every day for 15 minutes, I just did a brain dump.
Right.
I talked to my iPad.
Right.
And
audio.
Yeah,
nice.
audio and dictated.
Right.
Just whatever I was thinking of in that moment, useful stuff which I've kind of learned in my life without any structure. And then having done that for about 2 to 3 months every morning, then I started putting a structure to it. And I remember one day I just woke up and I thought, wait there's a very simple structure here. Yeah. And it was almost like a movie. The part 1 was a story of how we experienced life.
Yeah.
Part 2 was the kindness of the design of being human, how well we're created, that our mind and body will tell us when we're feeling at peace and when we're not at peace, and when to not believe our thoughts. Part 3 went into how to catch that judge in our head in action. And there's a lot of different ways the judge tries to make us feel lousy. And there's ways, if you can see the language, and we can talk more about that, then you can catch that judge quicker and not stay in that lousy space for as long. And then part 4 was putting it all into practice. Different examples, peak performance, relationships, making decisions, all those things. And when did that structure come to my mind? I just woke up one morning and it was like, oh, it was in fresh thought.
All right.
And it just made perfect sense.
So that was after you dumped.
Yeah.
And then it was like, hey, there's some structure in this once it was all out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's
but what
cool.
was useful for me was that I now have so much clarity on how my mind works to create my experience of life. I find it very easy to talk about it now.
Right.
And I still get angry. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I still get scared.
What gets you angry?
Yeah, well,
Road rage?
right. So I've got to be careful what I say here because I'm sure my missus will listen to this. But yeah, it's frustration when, and again, this is me being judgy. It's frustration when someone, especially someone close to me, does something which I think is silly.
Right.
But I'm judging them. And now I know that. And this is why with my ex-wife, I realized I was judging her for her behavior, which is what was getting me angry. So I remember at the very beginning, I said I wanted to understand why we feel the way we do.
Yeah.
I realized I was judging. And it's when we judge that we tend to get angry.
Well, where's the line in between judging and assessing with discernment about something? That's the thing that I try to question as well. Because if you know, let's say you're in a relationship with someone and someone is doing, you know, a relationship does have like certain expectations built in, whatever anyone says, there is a kind of implicit understanding, contract, verbal, you know, of responsibilities and certain expectations of things you should and shouldn't do, you know, that if somebody goes beyond certain boundaries or something, then you do need to be like, I'm judging or I'm assessing that is not good for me or whatever. But then that is also judging. So where's the line?
Yes, I love the words you used there about expectations and things we in a relationship we think we should and shouldn't do in our partners as well. Yeah. And that's exactly what me and my current partner are trying to drop.
Are you trying to just drop anything?
Drop all expectations, because that's when friction occurs. Yeah. And when you think about it, why should we have expectations of someone else? I mean, they're living the life they want to. Yeah. We're living the life we want to. Now, it's important to communicate. Yeah. Yeah. So, of course, because you're sharing a space together in this moment, in this world. So you communicate your preferences, but without expectation of them meeting your preferences. And so the moment, and so should's a particular buzzword for me. So it's a very powerful tool of the judge that we have a whole bunch of beliefs in our head. Yeah. Yeah. And when we get strongly attached to those beliefs, we start what I call shoulding and shouldn'ting to people. Yeah. And we literally go, you should have done this and you shouldn't have done that. And when I hear should now, I switch off because I go, okay, that's just their belief system. It's got nothing to do with me. And it's not personal. So that can apply with your partner as well. If she says to me, you should have done this. Yeah. I go, look, I'm sorry I didn't meet your expectations. Okay, but I'm doing my best. And so it's important to say all these things with kindness. But ultimately it's the expectations which cause problems in life. And I find there's a nice balance where if relationships are a place to give, not to get. And if you're both giving, then it magnifies your experience of life. The moment you're there to get something, that's when you get disappointed.
Because then you're building in an expectation of the other person.
And so and sometimes my partner said to me, I can seem quite detached. But to me, detachment is not about detaching from a person and feeling and everything and experiencing things from them. It's detaching from your expectations. That's what detachment is to me. It's about dropping all expectations. And now, if she does something which might frustrate me initially, I go, that's just my expectations. I'll let that one go.
Yeah. I mean,
it's tough.
I think there's certain lines that I would draw though. Like I do believe in monogamy. Yeah. For instance, I do expect that. I do expect that from my partner. Yes. I don't think I could be like, no expectations, baby. Do what you want, kind of thing. I think, or maybe I'm not evolved. Do you become more evolved if you are able to truly just let the other person be. But then it's, I guess that's what I mean by a sort of choosing to be in a relationship. Part of that is the implicit, the rules of you're not,
so
you're exclusive to each other, at least in some ways, right?
That's right. So you put forward your preferences. So I'm the same. I believe in monogamy, and thankfully my partner's the same. So we are monogamous.
Okay.
But the point being that we've communicated that. Now, if for some reason one of us wasn't, and so suppose she wasn't, and she's going to love this when she hears this. The point being that, okay, well, it's okay. She made a choice. Yeah. Now I need to make a counter choice. Do I still stay with her, forgive her for that? Yeah, for kind of doing something against what we both expressed? Yeah. Or do I walk? Yeah. But it becomes as simple as that. And I guess what we haven't talked about there is making sure that you love yourself so much, okay, that you don't actually need anything from anyone. Yeah, so don't make your love conditional on anything or anyone.
You're just a loving person.
Yes. So you give love because it's fun, it's beautiful to give love, not good. Because you're expecting love in return. Now, what is important there is it is important to have boundaries, because otherwise with that approach, you could get abused and walked all over. Yeah. So the way I approach that is that, yes, I start with the assumption that I trust everyone. If someone abuses that
trust,
give
them the benefit of the doubt to start with.
Yes, absolutely. So start with trust, because to me, I don't understand how people can build trust. What can they do to build trust? It doesn't make sense to me. Either they
start with 100% trust, and then they chip away at it with with whatever they've done.
Yeah. So, and I must admit, I used to think that with communication you can fix everything, but I have learnt now that sometimes you can't fix things. Yeah, someone will just do something or be disrespectful to you, and in those instances, you forgive them. Because forgiveness is for yourself, not for the other person.
Absolutely.
But you set boundaries.
Do you let it continue? That's the thing. So that's your choice.
Yeah, so you can choose to walk away if you need to. Yeah. Or set boundaries. Or say no. Yeah. As simple as that. Yeah. And then that way, you're very clear in your thought process without expecting anything from anyone.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely feels... If you can get two people who are both giving, then you'd have the best relationship.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, absolutely. And I know it's not. I mean, this is the ideal world, and I get that. And look, when any two people, forget a relationship, but like a romantic one, any two people spend time with each other.
Sure. Yeah. Business relationship, anything. Yeah.
It's belief systems clash. And so the other thing which I'm trying to do, and I haven't quite got there, is I'm trying to drop every belief I have. Right. Because when you think about it, a belief is just a thought that we believe to be true. That's all it is. Now, we've already said that no thoughts are true. So we don't actually need beliefs to live. But we create beliefs to fill the gaps where we don't know or understand, so that we feel safer. I don't know if that, let me just say that again. So I'm trying to think of an example. So...
I mean, like, for me, religions come into mind.
Yeah.
When you say about that. So, I mean, they're all whole systems of belief.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yes, if we want to go deep, we can say, well, what happens after, what happens after death? Yeah. And no one really knows. No one knows. So there's a whole set of belief systems, depending on which religion you follow. There'll be a belief system. You go to hell, or you go to heaven, or you get reincarnated. They're all belief systems. And those belief systems, and those belief systems give us comfort that, so now we know what happens after death. And so we feel more comfortable, because humans tend to be, don't like uncertainty. Yeah. They look for certainty in things, and one way of doing that is creating a whole bunch of beliefs that gives you the illusion of certainty, but we don't really know.
Yeah, I find it, I mean, I'm a non-religious person. I've explored religion, and play with the ideas of them, but my honest answer is I don't know, right? And
Yeah.
that's the most honest answer that I could give, because that's the truth to me. And I think it's almost arrogant to say, and especially when the whole structure of reality or what is going on is just handed to you by somebody else, and you often can't question it as well. That's what's, for me, just never sat right, with people just handing on a whole belief system. Then you're okay, I believe this whole set of rules and this whole book. And and I kind of draw the line around that. And I'm part of this team of other people that also believe it. And, we go and kill those people that don't believe it, and they better believe it. Otherwise we kill them. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem. Having different belief systems can start wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happening right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All over the world, yeah.
So that's why, and this kind of brings us into kind of a slightly perhaps deeper topic, is that are we really separate, or are we all connected? And I've thought about this, and something really hit me when I got this point that, remember, we've talked about your feeling, your thinking, but your thoughts are made up.
Yeah.
Now, your name is Darius.
Yeah.
Would you be different if your name was Tom? Or would you be the same person?
I mean, I'd be the same person.
Just a different label, right?
Just a label, yeah.
Yeah, so the name you have given to yourself is just a label.
Yeah.
And that label is created by perhaps your parents or whoever it was. Okay. And they've given you that label, and now you associate yourself with that label.
Yeah.
But it's only existing thought. It would not be, you're not Darius if you did not think about Darius. So it only exists in yours and other people's thoughts. Now, guess what? The label I or me, again, is just in thought.
It's just another thought.
Yeah, it's just a label. So the concept of me or you does not actually exist. We've created this character in our story. And
like
you have
ego.
the character of, the ego. Yeah. The character you have is Darius, and then you might say, I am.
Yeah.
And I might say, I am a coach. I am a father. I play pad. All those things, they don't actually exist except in my thinking. Yeah, these are just labels that put together create this personality who then we attach to, and then we refer to, and other people refer to us, but it doesn't actually exist. Now, the reason I point to this is then if you, Darius, or me, Manish, doesn't actually exist, then birth and death doesn't actually exist. Because let's just stop and think about that. Think about it logically. Who was born? Darius was born, but Darius doesn't exist. Who dies? Does Manish die? No, Manish doesn't exist. So birth and death and our concepts, it's a belief system, birth and death. What I see, and pretty much every kind of wise person that's existed from Einstein to Socrates to Buddha, favorite of mine is Alan Watts, they all point to this thing, that this oneness. Yeah. People refer to it as non-duality, where we are different. You and I are different, but we're not separate. In the same way as your elbow is different to your wrist, but it's not separate.
It's all part of one continuum.
It's continuum. It's connected. Yeah. So we are energy. Yeah. You have energy within you. You're alive right now, and that's how we know that. And effectively, we are the universe in one experiencing itself. Yeah. And so energy doesn't die. It's continuous forever and ever. In the form of Manish or Darius, it will end. But that's because we've associated this ego or personality to these bodies. But when you can really see that, actually, no, we're just energy. The universe is experiencing itself. There is no birth of us or death of us. And that's, many texts refer to this as, this is when you kill the ego.
Yeah, I mean, when people speak about that, I've heard that a lot. And every time I think of that concept, I always think of it as like the whole universe is like an ocean of energy, and we are just these little temporary waves that have created this form of Darius and created this form of Manish, and we're just like, and then it's going to like splash back
Correct.
into the giant energy ocean
Yes.
of the universe, and then it'll become something else. And yeah, that is a very, and it just happens to be that this wave is a very complicated, sophisticated wave that it's formed into these
Correct.
me and you. But we are ultimately going to splash back into the giant ocean.
Yes.
But then it still doesn't, for me, it's just weird that we have this, why do we have a POV of inside the Darius and the Manish? Like, why do we have this, like, you know, why is it from that perspective, which
Yes.
we have such a kind of focused awareness of that wave? Why is it that there's this very continuous,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. And I guess my answer to that would be that whilst thoughts are made up
Yeah,
and not true, the feelings they create are real, right? So what we feel is true in that moment, and it's real. So what we get confused, and this is the great misunderstanding, the missing link in life, is that all because we feel something
Yeah.
which is real, we think that the source of that feeling, which is a thought, must also be real. But it's not. And that's the misunderstanding, that, oh, wait there, that thought is not real. So the thought that I am Darius will create certain feelings, or Darius has achieved something great, or he's failed at something. That thought will create a feeling, and that feeling's real. So you think the thought must be true. So that's when you...
So the feeling is real.
Yeah, but thoughts aren't. The thoughts that created them are not real. And when you really get that, you start to effectively what I call wake up. This is what religions talk about, enlightenment or awareness. Just that one simple understanding that you're feeling, you're thinking at all times. Feelings are real, but thoughts are not. That's it.
I mean, it's a bit of a cycle as well, right? Like thought to feeling, and then feeling back to thought.
Well, yes, so feelings can create more thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes,
But
it's
which
a
one
bit of a
comes
feedback
first?
loop.
But which one comes first? It's always thought. It's always thought. Notice it. So I guess
it's a very subtle thing, isn't it? I mean, some people say like, you know, oh, I get a gut feeling about something, you know, and that's almost like listening to your body more. I mean, you know, some people, some spiritual practitioners speak about get out of your head and into your body, or like, you know, because that's almost like feeling more first. Or,
yeah, it's a bit of a metaphor, to be honest, is from my understanding of that. You know, they say listen to your heart.
Yeah,
your heart
listen to
doesn't
your
have
heart
thoughts.
or your gut. Or
Yeah, your gut doesn't have thoughts. Your brain does, but
they have feelings, right? I mean,
well,
like when you get a gut feeling about something.
Yeah, so what happens is when you feel a certain way,
Yeah.
you have physical reactions in your body, in your gut, in your heart, perhaps in your legs, when they tremble. So those are physical kind of effects of feelings.
Of feelings.
Yeah, they're just a manifestation of your feeling. Yeah, your stomach can get tight.
Yeah.
When you're feeling scared.
I mean, they say you have neurons, don't they, in your gut or your... I mean, there's definitely some kind of gut-mind connection going on. And they say like serotonin's made in the gut, and you have some intelligence in your gut or your heart, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the way we're designed is phenomenal. And yes, you're absolutely right. There is so much inherent intelligence. I mean, imagine we can pretty much eat anything and our gut knows how to process it and take what's useful from it and discard what's not. I mean,
and turn it into us.
Yeah, and that's magnificent in itself, isn't it? And that's why I always say to everyone, you're amazing. And I mean it. I genuinely mean it, because look at you. You're just amazing. We all are. But what we do is we get up into our heads. And so when we get up into our heads and we start listening to all those stories and taking them seriously, we get a bit lost. So to me, kind of finding your way back to that peaceful place which we're all born with, by the way. And I know this because if you look at young children, you've got a young child.
Yeah.
Okay. You just got to observe them, and they live with such energy and curiosity and
Yeah.
wonder. And sure,
It's
they
amazing.
get upset,
Yeah.
but they don't stay upset for very long, do they?
No.
They tend to move on
They throw it
quickly.
all out. You just distract them with something else.
They're not judging themselves.
Yeah.
They're not really judging others.
Yeah.
So it's a learned habit, this thing about judgment, that it's kind of built in through kind of our society, where our education system teaches us to judge. Yeah. You must do well in your exams, you must study this, and you must achieve that.
Yeah.
But
Must do your homework.
I come back to the point that there's a reason we're called human beings and not human doings.
Yeah.
There's nothing we need to do, achieve, be, or even think to be happy. Yeah, it's built in. And there's only two ingredients, two components to happiness. The one is your full attention on what's in front of you right now, being present. And two is non-judgment. And the second one is the one that most people miss. Most people have heard the concept of being present, but non-judgment. Because if you're in this moment but judging yourself, you're not going to feel great.
Yeah. And when you say judging, is that judging positively or negative, or just any kind of assessment?
Well, yeah, I mean, positive judgment's likely to make you feel good, but it'll be temporary. Yeah, because even positive experiences, it doesn't last forever. So I tend to say, okay, well, just know that any form of judgment is temporary. And our kind of negative judgment is likely to make you feel lousy. Now, the point being, it's not going to last unless you believe it, and then it keeps returning. So let it be. It's okay. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with anyone. Yeah, not mentally. I mean, obviously we can get physical ailments. And remember, physical ailments, suppose I walk out of here, go to the hospital, and I get diagnosed with cancer. And people say, well, how can you feel great about that? That's not my thinking. That's true. Yes, it's true. I've got cancer in that example. But I'm sure you can think of many examples of people with cancer who still feel peaceful and are at peace with that. And there are other people that feel absolutely lousy.
Absolutely. I always think a human mind can always turn a heaven into hell or hell into heaven.
Correct.
It depends how you process, or your attitude, or your reaction to things. Like, I always see, I know people from all sorts of backgrounds, and I see wealthy people who are miserable, and I see like not so wealthy people who are the happiest people out there. So it could, it's all about how you perceive what's going on around you as well, and what you focus on, what you pick out. If you could be in the most beautiful place in the world, then you're picking out the one thing that you don't like about it, or are you going to make the most of a situation always?
So there's one word which ends all suffering.
What's that?
Acceptance.
Acceptance.
When you live in total acceptance of what is, that is the end of all suffering. Because you're not fighting with reality, not overlaying your expectations on what's happening right now. You're simply accepting what's happening right now. And can you see, when you do that, you're a lot more present? Because I promise you, Darius, if you fight with what is happening right now, 100% of the time you lose. Because it's happening. And so that example, if I get diagnosed with cancer, it's happening.
I accept it,
If I accept it, my mental suffering stops. Physical suffering will be there, but the mental suffering that's linked to that, so pain is inevitable in life. We will have pain at some point, but suffering is a choice. And that's when we don't accept what is.
Right. Accepting what is.
Yeah.
And then what do we, in terms of exerting our will towards things, accepting what is that a starting point? And then
I would argue it's the end point. It's I always feel like,
in terms of wanting to make a change to things, or is that then a fool's errand then?
Well, the way I think of this is there's the kind of willpower way of living life of, I will do this and I will do that, and exerting energy. That can be quite draining. Or there's the awakened way to live, which is accepting what is. Now, that doesn't mean you go completely still and don't take any action.
Yeah.
But in those moments of quiet, when your mind is quiet, notice what thoughts you have and notice what it's telling you, and then follow that. So when you feel at peace, that's when you can listen to your thinking and go, right, so what do I do in this situation? So let's follow through on that example of I've been diagnosed with cancer. My next question would be, okay, I accept that. What's in my control now? Yeah. So that's a really powerful question to ask yourself. I'm going to ask myself that multiple times a day. What's in my control here? Something's happened. What's in my control? And what it does, it empowers you again, because what's in your control is something you can do.
What can I do?
Yeah. Whereas if you focus on what's out of your control, you feel helpless.
Oh, yeah. If you just focus on the problem rather than...
Just what's in your control. And remember, sometimes you can't control anything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many things in life you can't control. So you accept those and come back to what's in your control. And so you can either change your kind of procedure, what I've called what you do, or you can change your perspective. And so there's always something in your control, and changing perspective is always there if you can't change what you do.
Look at it from some different angle.
It doesn't have to be a positive spin. Yeah, so there's almost this misunderstanding that we have to turn everything into a positive.
Right.
And I find that quite draining. Yeah, because it's constantly working. It's like you're running against or swimming against the tide. Or you just enjoy that for what it is. So when something you didn't want to happen happens, you go, it's all part of the ride, all part of the journey. Yeah. It's okay. And it's not going to kill you. Well, there's a phrase that if it doesn't kill you, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. But then when you go deeper, there is no death. So when your ego dies, this whole concept of birth and death, you're no longer afraid of anything. It's just, I almost view life as a dance. It's not a goal. It's not a race. Because with music and dance, it's not.
There's no end goal.
It's no race. It's not a race. Because if there was, then the fastest song would be the best song.
It's just play to enjoy.
And that's what life is. And it doesn't mean be lazy and do nothing and just dance all day. You will do things. I mean, I've done some amazing things the last few years, but not because I need to. And not because I've made my happiness conditional on those things. I've done them because I thought this would be useful. This will be interesting. Yeah. Wonder what would happen if I tried this.
So you followed your curiosity and interests and expressed yourself.
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
And the greatest teachers that exist on this planet that teach us how to live that way, children.
Children, yeah.
Because that's exactly how we're born that way. It's our default mechanism to be curious and live with wonder. It's beaten
out of us over the years.
Yes.
And programmed out of us.
So as adults, really what we're trying to do is unlearn everything we've been taught and go back to our natural state, which is present, non-judgmental, curious, and living life with wonder.
Yeah, in awe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you live like that, people will judge you. But then you have to...
What other people think of me is none of my business. It really isn't.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, there's a lot of programming happening, and I feel it myself, even with my daughter. I've got an older daughter as well, and I feel I ended up participating quite a lot in her programming of putting her into the system of expectations and what she should be, and what she has to do. And I think I did feel, as I was doing it, a lot of it, there was something wrong about it. Even because she went to quite an academic school as well, and even from quite young, they started to have homework and things like that. And I was like, homework itself is a pretty crazy concept if you think about it. Adults at work don't work all day, come home, and then have to work somehow before the next work day. Yes. But that's that we give to kids. And that's what the school is giving them, and the school puts pressure on the parents to make sure they do this. You have to sign they've done the homework every day. And then I was like, my daughter was coming home from school tired, they start at 8:30, finish it. They have after school clubs, come home. They've got like a 3-hour window in which you have to like feed them. Like they have to have a bath, whatever, get their bedtime stuff ready. And you have to do the homework in that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it was causing me stress. It was causing me a lot of stress. And I did feel like every time I was like forcing her into it, or like encouraging her, but coercing as well, you know, with a bit of threat, a bit of stick and carrot, kind of like threats and kind of rewards, or trying to work out whatever it took to get her to do the homework, because I was being pressured by the school and I thought that's what she should do. But I knew deep down inside of me, a little part of like her spirit was being broken each time I was like forcing her to do it.
Yes.
You know, and I still grapple with that, because I do want her to have the best start in life and give her the best you know, opportunities and all that. But then at what cost? Like,
yes.
And is that really allowing her to become her best self, like to force her into just following this cookie cutter academic system, you know? And then I do sometimes think, let's just break out of the whole system and go do some, but then you're like, what's the alternative? What's the homeschooling? I looked into that, and that's seems like a lot of work as well, in a different way. Full time. I mean, you did the full-time dad thing, so you kind of almost went in that way as well. Yeah. Maybe that is a way up. I mean, well, but I'm open to alternatives. But you know, it's an interesting journey as a parent, and then, at least for me, realizing that I was programming my child again.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we don't know any better, or many of us don't know any better, so we just follow the herd. And
what happened to us, and then do it to them.
Send our kids to school. So I mean, my daughter goes to the Brit School currently, and she's studying acting,
right?
And she wants to be an actress, and that's a tough career, and because it's a lot of rejection,
right?
And
a lot of auditions.
But it's when she said to me, she goes, "Papa," she goes, "It's okay. I'm enjoying the process. So if I get rejected and I don't make it in this industry, it's okay." And that's when I knew she'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. That's a huge thing, to be able to handle rejection, you know, in everything, whether you're pitching a business, whether you're, you know, trying to chat up a girl or whatever it is, to be able to handle that, I think is a huge thing. And to be able to be okay with failure, and, you know, to learn that's part of the process. I mean, that's the most important thing. If she's enjoying the process.
Yeah, exactly.
Then.
Well, this is the thing. It's like, so probably for me, the most important lesson I can teach my daughter is unconditional love for herself.
Right.
So if she loves herself unconditionally, then it doesn't matter what the outcome is. Yeah. It's like you said, it's the dance. That's what we're doing here. Yeah. It's not the end result.
It's the process. So make sure you're enjoying the process.
Yes, at all times.
Because you also don't know when it's going to end. You could die any time, you know. And I think to live in awareness of that is very important as well. You know, and don't think, oh, I will later do the thing that I want to do, or I'll suffer through this bit for, you know, if you make that your kind of way of operating. Yeah. Suddenly.
And the other thing which I constantly emphasize to my daughter is, you are good enough. And not to the extent that means therefore you will achieve what you want to achieve, because that's your expectations. But it's to reduce the amount of self-judgment she makes, because what we tend to do is, somewhere along the lines for our education system, we start off believing we're good enough. But then we're taught that, no, you're only good enough if you achieve these grades, or if you do this. Or once you've left school, if you get a good job, earn a certain amount of money, get a nice house, buy a nice car. All these conditions. And therefore we're constantly judging ourselves, going, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And then
until I've done this.
And then when we think we're not good enough, we think we won't be loved. And that can be a very lonely place. And so knowing that we are always good enough. So remember I mentioned there's a book which I read, which is called The 4 Agreements. Right. So one of the agreements in there is, you are always doing your best. And the purpose of that agreement is to point out that your best will change from moment to moment. Yeah.
So that's an agreement you have with yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, to say that at every single moment in my life, I'm doing my best given my energy and my circumstances in that moment. So my best today will be different to tomorrow. It'll be different to other people. But it reduces self-judgment.
Just doing my best. That's all you can do anyway.
Well, it's a subtle difference. And not even do your best, because then that results in judgment going, was this my best?
All right.
Today
did I really squeeze every last bit out of that? Yeah.
Yeah. Did I sleep in too long? And was that performance good enough? No. So not do your best. You are always doing your best, and your best will change from moment to moment.
Takes off the pressure.
Takes all the pressure off.
So what are the other agreements? It sounds like a great book.
Well, the first one is be impeccable with your word.
Be impeccable.
Yeah, so don't use your word against yourself. Don't use your word to gossip. Second agreement is don't take anything personally. And that makes a lot of sense, because when you now realize that you're feeling your own thinking and you're living through your own kind of lens of your belief systems, nothing is personal. When someone says something, even if they say it in anger and they direct it at you, it's got nothing to do with you. It's based on their thoughts and their beliefs. It's not personal. That's the second agreement. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Because we all tend to make assumptions, then take it personally and get upset. So I'm trying not to make assumptions. I just ask people, so you said this or did that. What did you mean by that? Instead of trying to assume what they meant by that.
What they meant, right.
And the fourth one is you're always doing your best.
Always doing your best, right.
4 very simple rules for life, which can take you in a path of more peace and more love.
That's great advice. I'll definitely check that book out.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's quite short as well, so it's a nice read.
No, that's interesting. And the assumptions thing's very interesting too. You know, I thought recently I've been going to quite a lot of conferences, real estate conferences, sports conferences to do with my businesses. And what I always find really interesting about them is when you meet someone for the first time, like, you never know who's who. Like, you think, oh, the biggest, most successful guy is going to look a certain way, but sometimes it's the guys who are the most unassuming, you know, guys not necessarily dressed the most fancy, glamorous way or whatever. And those are guys are the most smartest. Oh, that guy's running a $52 billion fund, or that guy, you know. So you never know.
Yes.
Don't make any assumption about anyone and be open to everyone. That's something.
And the truth is, you know this, everyone's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And that mask changes from moment to moment, depending on who they're with. And our job isn't to kind of see through the mask and trying to figure them out or anything. When I engage with someone, it's just to share things with them with no expectation that they have to take it on.
Sure.
Because they might not. It's like they might not hear it. And
might not connect with them.
Exactly. And that's okay. But having conversations like this is fun. And you can learn something. I mean, I keep an open mind when I talk to people. They might have something useful to share with me. So that's what beliefs are there for, to engage in conversations, not to impose your beliefs on other people.
To bounce them off people.
Yes.
And share.
Exactly. It's like,
I mean, you've always got to be open. If you're too full of beliefs, it's like they say, if your cup's too full, that's it. You're not going to be able to receive anything then.
Yes.
You know, it just overflows. So always leave a bit of a gap for open. I mean, I always think of my belief system as like, this is my working model that I have at the moment, but open to change, open to improvement all the time, you know?
yes.
Like, people ask me, so do you believe in God? Well, I'm like, I act as if there is a God, and I always say God's plan. That's my way of kind of almost similar to what I guess you're saying about non-judging. It's just like something bad happens, God's plan. Something good happens, God's plan. You know?
God's plan is a great way of describing it.
And I always think of that's my way to non-judge and to accept.
Yes.
Because when something bad happens and I'm like, whoa, this is all part of a crazy, crazy God's got some crazy plans for me now coming up. This is one little part of that longer, you know, story arc or whatever. At least that's what, and whether that's true or not, that's my working. I'm acting as if that's true, and it seems to, put me mentally in the right place and lift me. And often down the line, I'm like, see, like I act as if that is God's plan, and things seem to work out better.
You're absolutely right. I mean, God's plan is a much kind of simpler way for people to accept what's happened. Because instead of trying to understand this kind of the thinking and theory behind it about you'll suffer if you don't accept, if you go, it's God's plan, and if you believe in God, then it makes it easier to accept. But ultimately, what we're saying is just accept what is.
Yeah.
But that's a much simpler way of describing it. It's been decreed by the religion. Yeah,
for me, it's like I accept it, and it's also like, I don't know if it was Einstein who was saying something about that, but if there's a God, is he good? Or my belief is the universe or the God or whatever it is generally good. It's better. It's more good than bad, definitely. So if there's something bad, it's a blip in the overall upwards trajectory of goodness, or,
so there's
amazingness that is the universe. Like you're saying, everyone's amazing. I mean, there's so much more amazing stuff happening than bad stuff overall, I feel.
This will be interesting, but notice after this conversation how often we use the words good, bad, right and wrong.
Right.
Those are all labels. Right. So something's happened, or someone has said or done something, and we'll label it. And we do this all the time. We label, that was a good event, that was a bad one. She was right, he was wrong.
Yeah.
But they're labels. And where are they?
Even good and bad.
Where are they created? In thought.
Yeah.
All thoughts are made up. So notice how often we label. Now, labeling in itself is not harmful. Okay. It can be useful. It's useful to have names, because then we can refer to each other. Darius, Manish. But notice how you feel when you label. So when you label something as wrong or bad, if you feel lousy, sad, mad or scared, then know that your little judge in your head is trying to make you feel lousy, and you don't have to believe that label. And so now because I say labels are for food in supermarkets, not for people. Yeah. Because have you noticed how if you label someone as bad or mean, then the next time you meet them, you will have that lens. From everything they say and do.
You filter that out.
Effectively, you end up judging them before they've even said or done anything based on their past actions because of your label.
Yeah. No, so totally.
That's not helpful.
And you also, like, back to what you were saying earlier, like, give somebody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And taking that even further of look for the best in people. And when you do that and you sort of look at them through that lens, in some weird way, I find it brings that out in them as well.
Yeah.
Like if you're looking and vice versa, like if you look at them through the bad lens and you focus on that and give that energy, it almost like sort of attaches that in their mind or the whole situation. And then it's almost like self-fulfilling prophecy type thing, of like whatever you focus on, give attention to, you bring about, right? And sometimes people will have an issue with a person, but I'll be like, well, that person, they're amazing, they're this and that. And I develop a relationship that's totally different from someone else who looks at them through that lens,
Absolutely. But don't get me wrong here, is that if someone keeps kind of behaving badly, and I'm using badly in inverted commas there, then you do need to discern and say, okay, maybe I need to start saying no to this person, or setting boundaries, or even walking away.
Yeah.
So
and that's okay too.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But
and don't judge yourself for doing that.
Correct.
Well.
You trust yourself, but you're effectively entering every interaction with someone else with an open mind and trusting your judgment of when you need to set boundaries or walk away or say no.
Yeah. And so how long have you been practicing all of these ideas?
I'd say in earnest, the last 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. Right. So when I came across that understanding that you're feeling and thinking, that literally I'd spend kind of hours, perhaps days, just reflecting on that and noticing it more and more. So I didn't believe it at first. What do you mean you're just feeling your thinking? That can't be true. It can't be that simple.
Feeling your thinking.
Yeah, your thoughts are coming, your feelings are coming from your thinking at all times. No, that's too, if it's that simple, why didn't someone explain this to me earlier? So I started applying it and seeing, is it really true in all circumstances? And I saw it is.
So every time you were feeling something, you're like, oh,
what am I
was I
thinking
thinking that caused that?
Yeah, it's a great question to ask. If you feel anything, just ask, what am I thinking right now?
Yeah.
Here's another great question linked to this. It's like, if you want to know what's true, ask yourself, would it be true if I did not think it? And if the answer to that is no, then it's not true. So if something only exists in thought, then it can't be true.
Like, what's an example of that?
Okay, so let's think of Liverpool, the best football team.
Right.
Okay? Now, I'm a Liverpool fan,
Okay.
right? But you can clearly see that that's only true if you think it. And you can point to evidence that they've won the Champions League and they've won the league. Therefore, they are the best. But it's still an opinion.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
Gravity is true even if you don't think about it.
Right.
Yeah, there is this force that pulls us down to Earth.
The law of the universe.
Yeah. There's 3 primary colors. That's true even if you don't think about it. So those things are true. Yeah.
Absolute truths.
Yes, absolute truth. Now, the problem that most people get stuck in is if they believe something so strongly, it becomes true for them.
Yeah.
But it's still not true. And that's why I say be careful about getting strongly attached to your beliefs, whatever they are. They're not true. And when you get strongly attached, you end up judging. Often judging others and often judging yourself.
Which is a kind of issue with religion, right? Because that's kind of what faith is. Is that what faith is? People's like, they have faith in something. It's like they just strongly choose to believe something.
Correct.
Yeah?
That's all it is.
Yeah. It's can be problematic, but I guess it helps people as well. You know?
Yeah, so this is the thing. No thing by itself is harmful. And you can use your feelings to tell you if you should believe it. If you feel lousy, don't believe it. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
So here's a phrase, and so it's Rumi that said this.
Yeah.
Rumi said, God's language is silence. Everything else is poor translation. And what he has pointed to there is that language is thought, and all thoughts are made up.
Yeah.
So the truth is that. You can't put words to it. It's that what some people find as awkward silence, but many also find as a wonder of when your mind goes quiet. It's like, here's a little experiment that we can do. I can say to you, so, are you enjoying this conversation? And your answer to that would be,
yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you that same question again, but this time, don't answer it until I raise my hand.
Okay.
So, are you enjoying this conversation?
Yes. Still.
Right. So that space is where peace and love resides.
Right.
And some people call that God. So I call it energy. And it's that gap where the mind goes quiet because you knew what you were going to say, but there was a gap.
Yeah.
And that space where there's not so much chatter because you knew what you're going to say is where truth and love resides.
Right.
When you get up in your head and there's all that chatter, that storytelling, it's hard to kind of then be present.
It's like noise.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're not religious, you can rephrase Rumi's quote to say, truth language is silence. Everything else is poor translation.
Yeah. He's got some great quotes, Rumi, doesn't he?
He really does.
He's got one about something about is it something, I'm going to misquote horribly, but it's something like there's a field.
Oh, yes, my
What's
favorite.
that one? Something like there's
so
a field
out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing,
Yeah.
there is a field.
Yeah.
I'll meet you there.
Yeah. That's a similar thing to what you're saying about not judging and
Correct.
the good and the bad and the label and
I love that because you can visualize it. I actually see that field every time I say that, and I see that field where there's all these people going right, wrong,
Yeah.
and then there's just this peaceful field where some people are lying still and in such bliss.
Yeah. I think that's a great point to finish on. Yeah. Well, thanks, Manish.
My
this
pleasure.
has been a real great talk without labeling it, but
you're going to become more conscious of what you say now.
Now I am. Now I'm going to be like, nothing. Can't say good or bad about anything.
You can just notice how you feel.
Yeah. Okay. I will do. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Darius.
Thank you.